Welcome to Work It, Live It, Own It, a show that explores how to upgrade your lifestyle through life lessons, real estate, and entrepreneurship. Here's your hostess, SaCola Lehr. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special episode of Work It, Live It, Own It. On this particular episode, I'm bringing back another special guest. If you have not seen our conversations before on YouTube about dispelling credit myths or just getting a better understanding of how your credit score can work for you, then I want you to check those episodes out. But before you do that, I want to sit down and talk with Varney Jallah. He is the founder, the CEO of Total Structured Solutions. And the way that Varney thrives in his business is by working with realtors such as myself and also lenders to help their clients get a better understanding of their credit. And even if they're not in a good place at that point in time, he gives them the viable steps, take away tangible steps on how to boost and improve their credit. So thank you, Varney, for coming back again. I so appreciate it.
Thank you, SaCola, for having me again. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to this conversation because this is something that I think a lot of business owners don't get to talk about. But one of the things that we're going to focus on today is building your business credit. What does that look like? How is it different from your personal credit? Now, Varney, this is something that is new to me. So I'm going to sit back and I'm actually going to take some notes from you because I know you have been encouraging me to take that step. And as you know, I freak out about credit or having credit cards. So This is not just something for the Work It, Live It, Own It community, but this is something for me as well. So I'm going to sit back and take some notes as well. So one of the things I did want to talk to you about is how do you even go about, what's the process? How do you even go about starting to establish your business credit? What does it look like? Is it different from your personal credit?
Great question, SaCola. So when it comes down to business credit, right? So business credit is just like your personal credit, but you're simply building or establishing credit for your business entity, right? So whatever your EIN number, whatever your registration with the Secretary of State, you're establishing credit for that entity, right? So just like on the personal side, you have a personal credit score. On the business side, you have a business credit score. On the personal side, you have you have credit bureaus that report your personal credit score. On the business side, it's the same thing. So simply when it comes down to building business credit, you're simply establishing, structuring your business in order to build a proper business credit score. And also you're structuring your business when it's time for you to, if you need funding for your business. So you're structuring your business, you're building that business credit score so you're able to get funding. If you want to purchase a home under your business credit, you have the option to do that. If you want to purchase a vehicle under your business, you have the option to do that as well. If you need funding for your business, you have the option to do that. If you want to get business credit cards, you have the option to do that. And the great thing about this process is everything reports under your business credit. Nothing shows up under your personal credit. And of course, that this is very, very important because you're in the real estate space. If you have clients that has their business, if they have a vehicle that's under their personal credit, that can affect their debt to income ratio, right? If they have personal credit cards that they're using for their business under their personal credit profile, that can affect their debt to income ratio. If they have loans that they took out under their personal credit, that can affect their debt to income ratio. So when it comes down to building business credit, this is actually very, very crucial. And most small business owners simply just don't know about it, right? Me personally, I'm going to tell you my personal story. I was in the real estate space back in 2018, and coming in, not knowing anything about business credit, I was using my personal money. I was using my personal credit cards, and in this industry, it can become very expensive. You're paying MLS dues, you're paying office dues, you have to pay for photography, you have to pay for marketing. And I definitely wish I had access to business credit. I definitely could have scaled my business a whole lot faster when I was in the real estate field. But so when it comes down to business credit, so business credit is just like your personal credit, but you're simply establishing credit for your business entity.
Okay, so that's good to know. But I get a little scared when you say credit, because does that mean that I'm taking out loans and credit cards, things of that nature on the business side? That's what you're saying, just to clarify.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. All right. Are there any specific requirements besides having an EIN number that we need to consider when we're building our business credit?
That is actually the most important part of it, because again, if you don't have an EIN number, you don't have your business registered, there's no way you can there's no way you can separate the two, right? So some people might use their social security number for their business, but I definitely encourage you to make sure that you do have your business registered, have a EIN number, make sure you have your business registered with the Secretary of State, and then that way you can start the process and the journey to go ahead to make sure you're separating everything, making sure that you're building a healthy business credit score.
Okay, so just to recap and go back for people who are just starting out on this journey, because I just had a conversation with someone who wants to start a business, and I advised them that they need to apply for an EIN number, and it's free. You go
Yeah.
to irs.gov and you apply for an EIN number. You do have to have a name in mind that you want that EIN number established under. And then you mentioned something else. Step 2 is going to the Secretary of State in your state and applying for whether it's going to be an S Corp, LLC, C Corp. But I would talk to, who would you advise to talk to about who's going to be the best? For me, I went to my accountant. Is there anyone else that you would advise to speak to on the best way to start or set up your business?
Yeah, so my recommendation would be your tax advisor, your CPA, right? And then that way they can guide you and tell you the proper way, whether you want to go under LLC, S Corp, or sole prop. So I definitely recommend definitely seek some type of tax advice, whoever is handling your taxes, on what direction to go when it comes down to registering your business.
Right. Okay. So I just wanted to recap that, guys. So step 1, get your EIN. Step 2, talk to a tax advisor, financial advisor, how to set up your business properly. Okay. Are there any common mistakes that we need to avoid or any pitfalls when it comes to establishing business credit?
Great question, SaCola. Yes, there. Again, it simply just goes back to the structuring of your business, right? So when it
Mhm.
comes down to common mistakes, I see a lot of people make is they simply, when it comes down to structuring their business, they simply, sometimes they would use their home address, sometimes they would use a PO box, right? So now,
Mhm.
when it's time, if you're using a PO box or home address, some banks would accept it, but some banks, when it's time for you to open up that bank account, if you're using like a PO box, sometimes they might reject you, right? If you're using your home address, they might reject you as well. So those are the two most common mistakes that I see people when they're structuring their business. Is simply they'll use a PO box number, or they'll use their home address. So this time, I actually had a client that actually went through this a couple of months ago. He used a PO box, and he went to Chase to open up an account, and Chase was like, "We can't open up the account for you because you're using a PO box." So banks are definitely cracking down on that. So again, you want to make sure you structure your business the correct way, right? So what I would recommend, get your virtual address, right? So at least that way, when it's time for you to open up the account, you want to come off as a legitimate business. You don't want to come off as, when they type in your business address, a residential address coming up, or they type in your residential address, the post office is coming up. Get you a virtual address. You can pay maybe 20 to 40 bucks a month, and you can have all your mail being sent there. Some virtual address can even allow you to have an office there as well. So at least now, when people Google you, right? So when people Google your address, you have a legitimate address. It can be 123 Main Street, Suite 200. And when the banks go to enter your business address, it pops up on Google. You'll see a nice fancy building, and it comes off legit.
Okay, so you brought up something very important, because you know how a lot of businesses, when you look them up and you look them up on Google, Google requires you to have a physical address to mail something to you to establish that account.
Yep.
And I did not want to use my home address, and you can't use a PO box. And I just recently discovered virtual addresses,
Hmm.
literally recently. And I was afraid about it because some of the virtual addresses, I think if you pay, you have the option for them to scan your mail, even deposit checks.
Mhm.
For me, I want my money. I want my money in hand. I don't want anybody scanning anything from me in my bank account. So you're just saying get a virtual address so that you establishing yourself up as a viable business. And I think if you type in virtual address, I think LegalZoom has an affiliate that they
Mhm.
use, but is there any other recommendations that you would suggest as far as them going to set up a virtual address?
My go-to for virtual address is Regus, right? Regus been around for a while. They have a great customer service team, and you can actually find Regus in pretty much all 50 states. So my recommendation would be Regus.
Okay, and that's spelled Regus, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So they do virtual offices like you were talking about. You can actually rent office spaces or use their lobby to have meetings, but you do have to be a member. So that is something good to know. So just to recap, guys, we're talking about establishing your business credit, getting that EIN number through irs.gov, then going through the Secretary of State, talking to your tax advisor first, go to the Secretary of State, set up your business, get a virtual address. Actually, I would think getting the virtual address will be step two, because when you're filling out your documents, you need to have an address on file when you're going through the Secretary of State. So thank you so much for that. That is a common mistake and pitfall that I think a lot of people don't know about. And again, for me, I just recently discovered that. So you're learning something new every single day. So tell me, we talked about the pitfalls, but tell me what are some of the benefits of building strong business credit with financial institutions or the right lenders to establish that credit? Who would you recommend we
Great,
start establishing business with?
great question, SaCola. Like again, just going back to my story, right? So the advantage of you having business credit, you simply just you're able to leverage other people's money, right? You're able to leverage other people's money. You're able to grow your business a whole lot faster. And this is something I ask small business owners all the time. If I come to you and say, "Hey, SaCola, I have an extra $80,000 to give to you," right? Not give to you for free, but I have access to a extra 80,000 that you can use for your business. I'm pretty sure you can definitely be able to grow your business a whole lot faster, right? So you can definitely be able to get more marketing if you want to hire staff, you want to hire, whatever it is that you can use for your business. You can definitely take that money and definitely be able to grow your business a whole lot faster. So, I totally forgot your question. you
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm looking at the benefits of building that business credit profile. You touched on that because you, again, scaling your business faster. And a lot of
Correct.
times, if you're like me, I'm trying to fund it and source it
Hmm.
from my business because I do get scared when I hear credit because my husband and I worked hard to pay off our personal debt.
Yep.
So, would you say there are any grants available for business owners out there that if they
There,
didn't want to go that route, they could still establish it, but would you
absolutely.
recommend
No,
grant?
yeah, absolutely. There's actually tons of grants out there. Now, I'm not the grant expert, but
Mhm.
I do encourage you. There's actually tons of programs out there that do cater to small business owners that you can definitely be able to get a whole lot of grant money that you don't have to pay back. But I'm not the grant expert, but I do encourage small business owners to definitely look into different avenues, right? So
Mhm.
when it comes down to business credit, it is simply one of those things that you just have access and resource to if you do have to tap into that, right? If you do have to pull money from there, you have the option to be able to do that.
Okay, good to know. Now, who would you partner with? Is there, I know we're not sponsored by anyone, but are there any particular financial institutions, any particular lenders that we need to look out for or try to partner with in order to establish business credit?
Great question, SaCola. My go-to lenders or banks is usually my go-to is usually American Express, Navy Federal, Chase, and Bank of America. Matter of fact, PNC. You can put PNC on there as well. I know for sure those five bank entities will report, and this is a very important piece of it too. They have great business credit products, and they also will report to the business credit bureaus, right? And that's something I see all the time. Clients will come and say, "Hey, I have a Capital One Business Spark card, right?" And with Capital One Business Spark card, it reports to the business credit bureau, but it also reports on your personal creditors profile as well. But the whole point of you building business credit, you want to make sure you separate the two, right? So another card that reports on the personal side is Discover. So, but I know for sure those five banks I just named you, Navy Federal, American Express, PNC, Chase, and Bank of America, they all report to the business credit bureaus and don't report under your personal credit score.
Okay, so back up.
Mm-hmm.
Discover. You mentioned Discover. Are you saying
Correct.
they report on the personal side or both?
Yes, the Discover reports on the personal side.
Okay. So why not go through your local bank? If you've already set up a business account, why not just use them? What?
Again, like I said, those five are my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But if your local bank, it is something that you'd encourage people to do. Ask your local bank. Say, hey, I have an account here at ABC Credit Union, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
guys have any business credit products? They say, yes, we do. Do you guys report to the business credit bureaus? Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it just told, again, even though I give you the five recommendation, those are just my go-to. But if you have other banks, just simply just check with them. Say, hey, I have a business account here with you guys. Do you guys have any business credit products? And do you guys report to the business credit bureaus?
Okay. Good questions to ask. Because if you're not already banking with these big banks already and you choose or opt to work with your local bank or financial institution, always ask, do you guys report to the Business Credit Bureau? Okay.
Correct.
Good to know. Can you share with us any success stories or people that you've worked with? I know you are a byproduct of using business credit, but are there any other success stories or real life examples of how a business has effectively been built and thrived because they've leveraged business credit?
Oh man, we have enough time to share these
Oh, it's like that.
to
Oh,
share
okay.
to share
Ooh,
these success stories.
ooh.
Man, uh, Man, I could be here all day, SaCola.
Oh,
So
okay.
I actually had a client that just graduated my program, and he was actually in there like 60 days. So he came in, new business owner, was able to help him, structure the business, get the EIN, register the business, and he was able to walk away with 70,000 in business
Hmm.
capital for his
Hmm.
business, and he's simply going to use that to he want to get a multifamily, so he's simply going to use that money to handle any renovations. He can use that money for his down payment towards getting that investment property. So that was one success story. I had another client I was working with that owns a gym. So he came in the program. He walked away with 80,000. He was able to purchase a new truck that was strictly under his business um, credit score and not under his personal credit score. So he walked away with 80,000 and a new truck. I had a young lady that I worked with. This was actually like the biggest that I ever got. She was able to get 100,000 through American Express. Right. So she got 100,000 through American Express. Now she's able to use that money to simply handle payrolls, handle different things. So those are my top three that I can think of. But if you guys check out my social media, I'm always posting testimonials, different things on our page. You can see the other clients that's on there.
Okay. And so we're going to leave all of Varney's social media platforms in the show notes so that way you guys can follow him and get more tips, because not only does he help business owners establish credit, but again, he helps potential home buyers. He works with realtors like myself, lenders. So for those who are starting out, because I had one guy who just said this to me last week and it almost broke my heart. He's a gentleman older than me, and he showed me something. He was like, they just said that I could get a home. I'm pre-approved for a home for a certain amount. And he said, I never dreamt that that could
Mm-hmm.
happen for me. And that just, woo, that touched my heart. But there are a lot of people out here who will just retreat and go hide because they find out the credit score is not where it needs to be. But there are places out here, and Varney is not just one of those who just enters in information and tries to wipe things off your credit. He gives you the viable steps. I have sent my clients to him, and I'm very picky about who I work with. But I've sent clients to him, and one of my clients just last year, I worked with them for a little bit, almost a year. Between Varney and I, got their credit up, worked with a fabulous lender, and they bought their first home as a married couple, and they're expecting their first child and
Oh
on the
man.
way pretty soon. So that's exciting. So that's another success story on the personal side of what Varney does in Total Structured Solutions. So Varney, I want to thank you so
Hey,
much.
SaCola, wait. I have another success story. I'm
Oh, you
actually,
do? Okay.
yeah, I do. And this can relate to this the audience that we have here. I'm actually working with a client now that's in California. So when they came over, they had a lot of credit card debt. Was able to work on a credit card debt. And their debt to income ratio was still a little high, so was able to refinance the husband's truck into the business onto the business credit, right? So now that removed about 30,000 debt off the personal credit, and we refinanced it under his business. So that was able to free up his debt to income ratio, and it was able to qualify for again a new construction. So they was able to qualify for a bigger loan. So that's actually, and they're closing in August.
That's
Yeah.
phenomenal. I'm speechless. Okay. So this is why I tell my clients, if something happens and the lender has said something to you, and or that lender is not specialized in helping you to figure out things with your credit, don't ghost me. That's why I tell my clients, don't ghost me, because you don't know who I know. And
Yeah.
if you don't communicate with me, I don't know how to best help you. So that's why you want a realtor who's not out there just trying to buy and sell homes. You want a realtor out there who is connected with other people like Varney, who can actually help you and figure out ways to make it happen. It may not happen right now, but it can happen eventually. Okay, so Varney, can you just tell us a little bit about your program on the business side? I know what you do on the personal side a little bit for people who are looking to buy a home, but tell us about your program and how you help business owners.
Oh man, so I structure my business credit program simply the same way I do my personal credit, and the target market that I focus on is realtors. And again, the reason why I focus on realtors because me personally, I've been there, and I connect with a lot of realtors on LinkedIn. Man, I did a survey last year. So all of 2022, I connected with well over about 3,000 realtors. And out of those 3,000 realtors, about 99% of them didn't have a clue about business credit, right?
Mhm.
So 99% of them didn't have a clue about business credit. So I actually put together an online course where they can go on there and simply step by step walk them through how to structure their business, get the EIN number, get the Secretary of State. And I have different, modules where they can go ahead and be able to go through that process and be able to build out their business credit. The reason why I designed that program is simply, like I said, I used to be a realtor. I've been there. So I wanted to give back, give something to the realtors to be able to help them establish and build their business credit. So to answer your question, SaCola, so our program is real simple. So you simply come in, we do a credit analysis for you, a business credit analysis, just to see where your business is at, what areas that we can do to build out the business credit. Then we simply work with you one on one on a monthly basis to make sure that you're able to build a healthy business credit score. So if you come in and say, hey, I want to, get a new vehicle under my business credit, we walk you through that process. Come in and say, hey, I need funding for my business. We'll walk you through that process. If you say, hey, I just want to be able to structure my business credit score the correct way, we walk you through that process. So it's not a one size fit all program. Every client that comes in, we actually create a custom game plan to be able to help them reach their goals.
Okay. And about how
Mhm.
long does that usually take?
All depends on, most people are using my program about 3 to 6 months.
Mhm.
But again, I just had a client that graduated in 60 days.
Okay.
So
They were
it
super
all,
motivated.
yeah. Absolutely. So they, no, so another thing too about when it comes down to business credit, you can build business credit in 30 days, 60 days. It can take a little bit longer. If you have if you have good personal credit, right? We have good personal credit, you can build business credit fairly quick. You're leveraging your personal credit to be able to build your business credit. And I think
Okay.
that's one of the things a lot of people don't talk about. And I'm not gonna hold you. A lot of people don't talk about, now business credit is a big thing. You're on Facebook, IG, everywhere. Everybody's talking about business credit. But what a lot of these gurus don't talk about is, in order for you to build a healthy business credit score, you have to have a healthy personal credit score. So a lot of them say, hey, we can get you a business credit score within, by getting a couple of net 30s accounts and everything. Okay, but the goal, once you build your business credit score, most people want funding, they want to buy a vehicle, they want to be able to invest, get investment properties. But when you go to the bank, you have a healthy business credit score, but if you don't have the revenue coming in to be able to back that business, right? If you don't have the 2 years worth of tax return to show that you've been up and running for 2 years, you're a legit business. You don't have P&L statements to show them, right? Now, if you don't have these things, the banks will say, okay, you don't have these things. Okay, how's your personal credit? Can you personal guarantee it? So if you have good personal credit, you can definitely build a healthy business credit score quick and a whole lot faster.
That's what I was about to ask you when you were touching on that point. I was like, okay, so how did they determine how much of business credit you can? And you just said it is based on your personal credit. Wow, Varney, we've touched on so many points. We talked about avoiding the pitfalls, the common mistakes. P.O. box is not the answer. Using your physical address is not the answer. Check out virtual addresses. Find the one that's right for you. You also talked about your top 5 go-tos as far as establishing business credit. But before you even do that, make sure that your personal credit is good.
Yeah.
Make sure that you get that EIN number, guys. It's free. IRS.gov is free.
Yeah.
It's free. I'm pretty sure by now you got a name, right? All they're going to ask you is a name. They're going to give you an EIN number. It's like your social security number for your business, as Varney mentioned. Talk to your financial advisor, figure out what's going to be the best way to set up your business, whether it's an S Corp, C Corp, LLC, sole proprietor, and then file that with the Secretary of State. And make sure you stay up to date with your articles of incorporation and whatever you do, and get that virtual address and start establishing some business credit. And if you are still uncertain about how to walk through this, I'm sure Varney and his company is going to be real willing, ready, and able to assist you every step of the way. And I have to admit, I was on Varney's survey last year in 2022. So. I was. So it's something to really give thought to and consideration, but it's so important to set up your business the right way from the very beginning, because the last thing you want to do is start establishing a business and then you're having to backtrack and handle the
Exactly.
financial part. That's more aggravating than if you set it up the right way the first time. All right, Varney, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us again. But before you go, I've got some rapid fire questions for you. You ready?
You go right ahead.
Okay, so the first question is, if you had an endless supply of something, what would it be?
Endless supply of anything. The opportunity to help more people.
Mm,
Mm.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
To help more people.
All right. Oh no, how about this one? What is the best advice you've ever received that keeps you motivated, that keeps you going?
Mm. Yeah.
I stumped them.
Man. The best advice that I received to keep me going.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. It have to be my family. Just my family is my why. So I don't have a vice that I can say, hey, somebody told me this, but what really keeps me going is my family, my 2 kids, my wife, and just knowing, I have to do this for them. So that right there was what keeps me going.
Good. Sometimes it's not what is said, but who's in your life, right?
There you go.
Absolutely. Tell us where the Work It, Live It, Own It community can stay in contact with you.
Oh man, so you guys can catch me on social media on Facebook, Varney Jallah. You can catch me on Instagram as well, Varney_Jallah. I'm on LinkedIn, Varney Jallah, and I think that's it. Those, yeah. So those are three platforms that I'm on. I'm also on TikTok as well, but under Varney Jallah. But those are the main platforms you guys can find me on. I'm always on there on a weekly basis, either giving out some credit advice, business credit advice, and also so you guys come across my page, you to see credit advice and picture of me and my family traveling with our kids, with my wife
Yeah,
and
I
my
get a
kids.
little jealous. I get a little jealous sometimes. I'm like, man. And sometimes
Yeah.
you'll see the cutest video where his kids will ask him credit questions and then he's
Yeah,
giving them
yeah,
advice. I've seen
yeah.
those
Yeah,
too.
yeah, my
All
daughter. Yeah.
Yes, yes. She's asking her daddy all the great questions. Well, thank you
Hmm.
again, Barney. It has been a pleasure. It's been wonderful. And guys, if you're thinking about starting a business, even if you're a beginning realtor, and because this is why I've created this platform too, is to help business owners who are starting out on that journey, but also people who are trying to work it, live it, own it in their everyday lives. And a lot of times we don't know what we don't know. And this is why I like bringing on experts, because I'm not going to sit up here and talk about something that's not in my lane. So I want to
Yeah.
bring on people like Varney and other many guests that are coming on to talk about what they do and how they shine in their brilliance. And as always, don't forget to work it, live it, own it in your everyday lives. Guys, that's it for this episode. Take care. If you have any more questions, don't forget to leave those questions down in the comments below. Don't forget to save this episode or download it so you can go back and use it for future reference or share it with your tribe and community. That's it. Take care, guys.